Okay, so this is, do you have your workbooks with you? Do you have your workbooks with you? All right. So the first
Yes.
lesson is the first lesson is the law of the lid. It's the law of the lid. But before that, here is what you can expect from the process as we engage in the laws. Do you have your workbooks with you? Please fill in the blanks. Okay. The first blank is learn. Here, write the word learn. We will learn the law as an overview. Like what I've said, this is supposed to be done by seminar. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, okay, I'm so sorry. Our main partner in the Philippines is here. May we ask Ella Rodriguez to speak, please? Oh my goodness. Sorry, Ella. Right.
Hi, ma'am. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us with today's leadership gold training, together with, of course, our very own Dr. Angela Tuck. And yeah, she's based in Scotland at the moment, and yeah, she's a very good transformational leadership trainer and speaker at the same time. Thank you, ma'am, for giving us the opportunity to attend this seminar with you and with the rest of our participants here in the Philippines and Australia and some other parts of the globe, I guess.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ella. She is such a very outstanding woman from the Philippines. So I'm very proud of her. Thank you, Ella. So first we will learn the law as an overview. Like what I've said, 21 irrefutable laws of leadership is really much better if done offline and done in a retreat form. But this is just an introduction. So please digest everything that you can digest and make your lives better after the seminar. Number two, we will discuss living the law and we will lead others to the law. Now, the law of the lid is the very first topic here. Now, how do we learn the law of the lid? Well, leadership ability is the lid that determines a person's level of effectiveness. Well, you are all leaders here, and it is for you to know and for me to know as well that the law of the lid is very important. So I would like to show you, well, this is also in your, okay, you can see this in your workbook. So learning the law of the lid. There you go. Okay. So the lower an individual's ability to lead, the lower the lid on his potential. So in this first diagram, you can see here a diagram of a successful person without leadership. So is it possible to be successful without leadership? Yes, but your success is very limited. And I'm sure you will agree with me. There are people who are so effective. They're so brilliant. They know the skills. They know everything, but their leadership effectiveness is only level 1. So if the effectiveness is only level 1, then the success is very low. See, if the leadership ability is 1, no matter how skillful, how focused, no matter how good the person is in the field where he is called, his success level is only number 1. He cannot be an iconic leader. He cannot propel himself or herself to a higher degree of leadership because there's a lid in his leadership. Now, success with leadership, as depicted on the second illustration, if the leadership is, let's say, higher than the first one, let's say 6.5, and the success dedication, meaning a person's ability, a person's skills, no matter how a person is so skilled and dedicated, if his If his leadership skill is low, then the success level is low. But if the person has both the skills and the leadership, his or her level of effectiveness and success is a lot higher. So as depicted on the second illustration. Sorry, it's so cold here. All right. So this is the illustration. I would like to ask you, where do you fall? On the first or on the second? We cannot get a lot of reactions. May we just call on one reaction here? May we call on Rowena? Where do you think you fall? On the first illustration or second illustration? Rowena
Uh,
Palil.
ho- yeah, yeah. Hopefully, I'm on the second, but as you may know, it's never-ending learning. I know that there's a lot of leadership points that I should be learning, and as I continue to be on the role of leading others, hopefully, I also equip myself with the competencies needed to lead.
Exactly. Okay, so now we're on page 2. Whatever you accomplish will be restricted or propelled by your ability to lead others. So, how do we live out understanding of the law of the lid? Now, let's go to the next topic, living the law of the lid. What is the lid number of your leadership? Lid number of your leadership. How do you find that number? So go through the 21 indispensable qualities of a leader below. Grade yourself on each one on a scale of 1 to 10, and then find your average. So you have there in your workbook characteristics, the 21 characteristics of a leader. First is character, charisma, commitment, communication, competence, courage, discernment, focus, generosity, initiative, listening, passion, positive attitude, problem solving ability, relationships, responsibility, security, self discipline, servanthood, teachability, and vision. Well, in a real, I mean, in a workshop, you are supposed to be rating yourself during the session, and there is supposed to be a conversation about this one, group dynamics. But since we are pressed for time, I give this as your homework. So tomorrow, when you come over, please be ready to share with us the rating that you did for yourself. So this is okay. So how do you rate yourself? You, after rating yourself, a scale of 1 to 10, you have to add up all the 21 and then divide it by 21, and that's your average leadership, the average of your leadership lid. The higher your lid, the lower is your ability to get up the ladder of leadership. Now, after that, after you've rated yourself, ask a friend of yours, someone who's very close to you and someone who really knows you. But since you're leaders, I'd like you to rate your members or your team, in terms of your lead, and tell them to be honest. Okay. Now, now let's go back to the 21 qualities and find where you can make the greatest impact by growing. Remember to work on your strength. Now, we will not continue with this one, with the law of the lid. I'm just giving you your homework. We will get back to law number 1, the law of the lid, tomorrow after you've rated yourself. Now, I'd like you to move now to page okay, to page number 7, which is the law of influence. We will go back to the law of the lid tomorrow, like what I've said, after you have given yourselves rating and after your staff maybe had given your rating in terms of your lid as a leader. So we have the law number 2, which is the law of influence. Can anyone share a famous quote on influence? Jeff Forbes. Can you recall any quote or quotation about the law of influence. All right, I'll share with you one which is very easy to remember, and I'm sure that you already have heard about this. Leadership without influence is just like a leader taking a walk. No influence, no success. Influence is the essential ingredient to leadership, because without influence, there's no leadership. If you remember the story, when we were in grade school, we were taught about the story of the Pied Piper of Hamelin. The Pied Piper of Hamelin gives us a vision of a true leader. You see, when he started playing his pipe, the rats started to follow him and led the rats to the river, and the rats all drowned. That's an epitome of a great leader. An epitome of a great leader is someone who leads the way, knows the way. An epitome of a good leader is someone who plays the pipe and everyone follows. That's a mark of a good leader. So the law of influence is essential in leadership. Who do you think during this century, who do you think is the most famous and respected leader during our century? Gina Aliman.
Based on my age, probably, I would say the most influential people right now are the social media creators.
Pardon?
Social media creators, based
Mm-hmm.
on my understanding.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, they do have their own audience and they could be very powerful influencers, right? Okay. Well, I gotcha. Right. Thank you, Gina, for sharing. Thank you. Yes. Let us call on, yeah, social media. Ramil Cortez. Ramil.
I think it's the president
Mm-hmm. Why? Why?
that who leads the country. Yes.
He's the most influential. All right.
Yeah.
I will credit you for that answer. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Um, Presidents of countries could exert influence. Yes. Okay. Now let's now go. Thank you, Ramil, for that answer. Now learning the law of influence. Well, leadership is not title. It's not title. Leadership is not position. Influence, rather, is not even power or stature. It is influence and nothing more and nothing less. Have you ever seen people who don't even have titles, who don't have any positions, who don't have any power, no stature at all, but they are influential? They are influential. It's not because a person has a title, he is or she is influential. When you see a leader with a divided team, that leader is not influential. When you see a person with a position whose team is unhappy, disgruntled, that person has a flaw in his influence. So a title doesn't give a guarantee that a person has got an influence. Even if a person has got a lot of money and a lot of power, if people are disgruntled and divided and discontented, that person has a flaw on his influence. So there are 5 influence myths. Myths. These are myths, you know. We thought they are influential, but they're not. Number 1 is the management myth. The idea that leading and managing are one in the same. No, they're not. That's why if you are a leader, make sure to delegate the management to someone else, because it is a little bit challenging to be a manager and a leader at the same time. Very few people are gifted with this. You know why? Because if you are into the management position, you need to take care that everything that the leader says is being implemented. You're the implementer. You have to take into account the logistics, the discipline, and everything. Everything that the leader says must be followed. So if you are in the leadership and doing management at the same time, it's going to be very, very challenging. Now, so it's a myth that if you are a manager, you're a leader. Number 2 myth, entrepreneur myth. Okay, well, as you all know, entrepreneurs, they do have this personality that they have this eye to see opportunities, because entrepreneurs are more in the right brain, you know, so they're more visionaries. They can see, you know, small details, and they could see opportunities. These are the characteristics of entrepreneurs. That's why they became entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are skilled at seeing opportunities and going after them. They can run after opportunities. The problem with entrepreneurs is that they are so right-brained, and they're on they tend to lay their track while they're driving their train. So they lack planning, meaning they lack management skills. You know, entrepreneurs are leaders, industrial leaders. They are leaders, but they lack management skills. So in order for entrepreneurs to be successful, they need to have managers alongside. So it is a myth that entrepreneurs are influencers or influential people. Number 3, knowledge.
Sir, ang
It's not
original na usapan is
right. So it's not because a person is knowledgeable, he is influential. There's a saying. There's a saying that goes, people will not care what you say until they know that you care. So knowledge myth, knowing what to do and influencing others to do it, take different sets of skills. So there, you know, a lot of people are very knowledgeable, but no one listens to them because they lack the skill of influencing others. Number 4 is pioneer myth. You can get there first, but if no one follows you, you cannot lead. There are a lot of pioneering people. They start pioneering, planting, but after planting, everything goes off. You know why? They lack influencing people. So influence is very necessary for every one of us to succeed in all, across the board. Number 5 is position myth. If you have a title or position, people will follow you. That's a myth. No, your title is not a guarantee that people will follow you. Because there are a lot more of principles that we leaders need to imbibe in us in order for us to be influential people. When we say influential, it doesn't really mean to be on the higher scale of influence. We can start influencing people within our respective homes. So how do we learn the law of influence? Number 1, people ask us. People ask themselves about our character. People will ask like, well, who are they? Who is she? Does she know what she's talking about? Character. What is that person's track record? How does she or he deal with people around us, around the community and everything. Character. Is that person principled? Is that person honest? Is that person really know what she's talking about? People ask us about our character. That's number one. Number two, ingredient to influence is relationships. Relationship is not only about being a friend to everyone. In fact, if you go up to the level 10 or 9 scale of leadership, you don't need to be a friend to everyone. You may choose your inner circle. You may choose the people that you connect with. Relationships, it says who they know. Birds of the same feather flock together. People judge you based on your inner circle. Who is influencing you? Who are the people around you? Who are the members of your inner circle? Your relationships, who they are. Are your friends corrupt? Then people will also think that you're corrupt. Are your friends really influential with principles? Then people will think of you as a principled, influential person. So let us remember that birds of the same feather flock together. It is not a cliche. It still works. And we should believe in that. Number three is knowledge. What do they know? People will, what do they know? Do they really know what they're talking about? People will ask us about what we know, our competencies, our competence. That's why it is important to have a track record. For those of you who are vying for international recognition, you start vlogging. Someone said about social media. Yes, it's a part of it. You have to show the world your achievements. You cannot just put it now. You cannot just put your achievements in a piece of paper. You have to put it in social media. You have to start vlogging. You have to start blogging. You have to start propagating whatever you know on social media. In other words, Googleable. You have to be Googleable. That's one of those. That's one of those things that people will try to dig into your knowledge, your track record. Where have you been? What do you know? Your educational background, your career track. Um, Not only that, not only career track, they will also dig into even your dissertations and everything that you know, put them on social media because you need to be Googleable. All right. Next, experience. Oh, no, I'm sorry, intuition. What they feel. This is important for influencers. Influencers. You need to, intuition is a part of your spiritual intelligence. That's the best way I could say it. It is a way of knowing something not based on knowledge, not based on logic, but it is based on an inner voice. That's what you call gut feel. I think in the Philippines we call it kutob, but kutob is a shallow way of, it is, I think, a basic way of starting to intuit. But intuition is something that you can develop through meditation, through prayers, and by knowing the inner voice inside of you. I don't know, Christians listen to God and they can hear God speak to their guts. Others, I don't know if there are Hindus here or there are Buddhists, they develop their relationship with their God, with their deity. So for Christians, they develop a deeper relationship with God. I've known some Christians who were able to design clothing. They were able to succeed in fashion, in politics, by listening to God. If you can Google Lance, will know he's one of those. Next is experience, where they've been. Okay. Yes, yes, Elisa. All right. Where they've been? Where have you been? Yeah, people will ask, what is your track? That's what I was saying, track record. Where have you been? What did you do? People will scrutinize your track record. Number three, past success. This is very important. Past success. You cannot influence people, or you can hardly influence people without you telling them about your past success. And it's indecent. It's a little immodest even to be telling people who you are. And the best way to tell people about your past successes is to put them on social media. Create a blog, create a YouTube channel, or create a TikTok, and put all your accomplishments there, your past successes. They need to know, because I don't know, this is now a part of our generation. We need to be Googleable. We need to be seen in social media. And past success, where have you been? So, when people ask you, you would know, like, well, I've traveled to 35 countries. And when you say something, it has to be substantiated by some things that they can see on social media about you, like testimonials of people, photos, reels, blogs about what your past accomplishments were. And that would help in influencing people. Next is your ability. What can this person do? People will ask. Our team might be passive. They might be nice in front of us, but they do have questions about us. And there are times when we cannot influence them because we are flawed in this area of influence. Now, how do we lead others to the law of influence? First is, a leader sees more and sees farther and sees before others see. And that's why leaders must have these intuitive instincts. And a leader must not only have intuitive instincts, a leader must embody everything that we've just mentioned previously. Character, relationships. When you say relationships, not a friend of everybody. We will be taking this up in succeeding chapters of our lesson, that a level 8 to 9 leader is not actually a friend of everybody. A leader, a top-notch leader, in fact, chooses who to spend his time or her time with. Okay. Well, not
Excuse
of
me, ma'am.
course to fight with everyone. Not fighting with everyone, actually, but
Yes.
we need to be choosy with the people that we
Hi,
need to
ma'am.
be choosy with the people that we have to deal with.
I have a question, ma'am.
We should
Excuse me.
always remember. Yes, Jonathan, you have something to say?
Yeah. Is the experience in past success is the same in the
Experience and past success,
past
correct. They
success?
are related. Yeah, they are
Okay.
related. Okay. So now, a leader sees more. It says sees more, meaning a leader must be visionary. Because you're leading people. When you're leading people, you're the captain of the ship. So you must know your destination. So it is not only enough that a leader knows his craft. A leader must add intuition. Most leaders, really iconic leaders, are so astute. They are so skilled with intuition. They are so skilled with this one that they can see farther more, and they can see before others see. They have, in other words, they have a hindsight and they have a foresight. And how do we develop this? We can develop this again through our spiritual education. So it is not only advisable for us to be developing knowledge, we also need to develop higher level of spirituality, because spirituality is the highest form of intelligence. Okay? So now, list words or phrases that indicate an opportunity to teach the law of the lid. How do you teach the law of the lid? I leave this all to you because we are pressed for time. Now, there are 3 questions followers ask leaders. Number 1, on top of those that we've mentioned, learning the law of influence, on top of those that we've mentioned, people will ask, does my leader care for me? You know, does Jessa care for me? Does Jonathan care for me? Does Russell care for me? Does Jeff care for me? That's what your members or your team will ask themselves. They will not tell you, but that is the very first thing that they'll be asking. Number 2, can my leader help me? Can my leader equip me? Can my leader help me succeed? Number 3, can I trust my leader? Can I trust Jessica? Can I trust Carla? Can I trust Rael? So these are the 3 basic questions that your team will be asking you, that will be asking themselves about you. All right, before we proceed, let us get at least 1 or 2 feedback or takeaways from our lesson. May we ask on Jonathan, what is your takeaway from lesson number 2, which is the law of influence?
I don't have any takeaways.
All right. How about Cheska?
Mm, well, my takeaway here actually is because I'm actually uh in a high role in the company.
Mhm.
But I didn't get there just by because I'm actually the child of the owner. So there is that title or that entitlement, but I don't really see it as because I believe I earned my role. So I think there's that because I went through being an entry level personnel and going up the ranks, so stuff like that. So that
Oh,
it yeah.
so your
So
influence is based on your credentials and in your ability to influence others.
I guess so. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So what have you learned from our session based on the law of influence? Or is
um
there something that affirms you that you've already been doing? Or something, yeah, well, anyway, something that struck you.
I guess it's the part of the knowledge because even though I'm part of the management and I guess I would say I'm also the leader of the company. So people still come to me to ask about technical issues that uh I guess I'm knowledgeable. So I think that struck me.
All right, that's good. It's an affirmation that you are
Yes.
equipped. Okay. Yeah, sometimes this seminar affirms people. Like most of them, they're just being affirmed, or this might be just a review, right? Okay. So how about Gina? Thank you, Cheska. How about Jenna? Gina, rather.
Well, again, ma'am, for me, I'm still starting on my career. So I would say that as a leader, I would go up to the ladder by doing the best for the team or going forward and like from the term it says a leader sees more. There's a progressive way of looking forward to earn more knowledge on a good
I
right
see.
now.
Yeah, you're right. There's an ending. There's an ending path to knowledge
Yes,
and recognition and um, to be an ending path to be an iconic leader. And life is a process, right? Thank you. Now let's proceed to law number 3, which is the law of process. So the law of process is very important. We need to remember that we are all learners. I'm a learner, you're a learner, everyone is a learner. And life is a process. It's just like starting everything from the scratch and then starting to climb the ladder. Now, learning the law of process. Leadership develops daily, not in a day. So if we do have some weaknesses that we need to develop, we have the first person that we need to be kind to is to ourselves. We need to be kind to ourselves. Well, leadership is like investing. It compounds. So thank you for investing your time here because this will compound. And thank you for investing your time in reading books because that will compound. And thank you for learning. Every day is a learning experience. And the learning experience that we take away every day, no matter how small they are, will propel us to a better leadership in the future. So, how do we learn the law? Well, I believe that experience is not the best teacher. Evaluated experience is the best teacher. So if you notice yourself to be running around circles, it is because the Almighty, or there's still something in that attribute that you need to learn. That's why you keep that experience keeps recurring. So what experience in your leadership keeps recurring? Negative experience. So whatever negative experience, something painful that happens to you every time you lead is an indication that you still need to learn that specific skill. No one is exempted. I'm still experiencing that every day in my family, relationships with colleagues, but life is a process. And the very first person to be kind to you is you. There is a saying that you or we cannot pour from an empty kettle. The kettle needs to be full. So, in conjunction to the law of process, first thing that we need to do is to be patient with ourselves, because we cannot be patient with our team unless we are patient with ourselves. So that's the very first thing that we need to remember in this unit, the law of process. Life is a process. We are growing. Our team is growing. They are human beings from many different backgrounds with problems to face, with situations to hurdle, just like you and I. So we have to remember that everybody is in process. Life is in accordance with the law of process. Everything is being processed. They are going through situations in life. So leadership is a little bit a combination of dynamism, patience, because life is so much because of the complexity of life, due to the process by which we are being honed into the kind of person that our divine creator would like us to be. We all go through different phases. So think about it. Your team members are into the different phases of life and still trying to cope with work on a daily basis. So the best way to grow in the process of life is to learn and to develop the threefold persona in each one of us. So what are the threefold persona? We are triune beings, develop our physical ability, and then our mental, which is akin to soul, and spirit. If we don't develop the three, then we are limping people in this process. Develop spirituality, because spirituality is the best and the greatest intelligence that we need to develop and harness. Second is the soul. Entity of the soul are intellect, knowledge, the brain functions. And the third is, of course, physical. And the three are very important. So who among you here are doing their daily exercises, just running, walking, going up the stairs? It is important that you exercise physically. Number two, read books, attend webinars and seminars like this, mingle with learned people, mingle with people who can add value to your lives. Number three that could help you in this slow process, in processing your life to be a better person that you can be a better leader that you can be, is by developing your spirituality. Prayers. If you're Christian, read the Bible. If you're Buddha, read, I don't know what you do. But it is important to develop spirituality. Sometimes most leaders are not the brilliant ones. If you've noticed, John Maxwell's books are very simple. They're so different. I mean, they're just so simple. But he's a leader. And a lot of people respect what he's saying. And when I met him in Florida, during the 2-week convention, what I've noticed with John Maxwell is that he's a very simple, quiet person sitting at the back, but he makes us all feel welcomed, and he made us all feel good by his presence. And in fact, let me share with you, the very first time I sat down and listened to him live, I felt a certain level of disappointment, because I felt like, oh, he's just parroting everything. It's a recycle thing. But after taking his I did not teach this. I taught my book. I took other references while I was teaching this, because I thought it was so simple. His ideas were simplistic, and I didn't learn anything from him. But after taking his course, during my meditations and prayers, I found out that I'm still being processed too. And that was like 10 years ago. And I found out that I lack the spirit of humility, the spirit of calmness, the spirit of warmth, the spirit of gratitude. I was more of a manager than a leader. I think that was my takeaway of, all these things that I did with John Maxwell. I was very rigid. I was regimented, and I was inflexible. There were a lot of meditations that I did. And I found out that John Maxwell was used by God to teach me, to go from one place to another, which is to become a better version of myself. So let's be patient with ourselves. Let's be patient with one another, because life is a process. And if we right now think that there is no more room for growth, then that's the end of us. So there is something that God has for you, or the universe, if you're a new age practitioner, you call the universe, has for you in this seminar or webinar. So take a look at yourselves and take a look at your surroundings more reflectively. This is supposed to be done in a retreat, context of a retreat, but this is webinar, we're kind of limited with our space and time. So let's just get the most out of this. You are on a process. So what is it? What skill do you need to enhance or to develop during this stage of your leadership? Knowing that there are 5 phases of leadership. In fact, not only leadership, but growth. The first phase is that you do not know what you do not know. So a person who feels like he knows everything or she knows everything does not know anything. I'm sure, your higher level executives, you've met a lot of higher level executives. Believe me, those people who are full always believe that they're not full. Those people who know nothing, who are not full, believe the other way around, believe that they are so full. If you have that kind of attitude, you're a level 1 leader. You don't know what you do not know. Number 2, I know that I need to know. This is if you feel the hunger, to know more. The mark of a very intelligent person is they have the hunger to learn. They have the desire to learn. They have the desire to get more. It's like they pant for water in the sea. They pant for food. They crave for food. That is an indication of life in a person. Because a dead person does not desire for anything. So if your leadership skill, your influence is alive and active, you will desire for more. Number 3, number 3 is you don't know that you don't know. So if you don't know that you don't know, you feel like, okay, well, I know already everything. I already know everything. Number 4, I know and grow, and it starts to show. That's a level 4 of a leader. A leader who knows that he does not know and he craves for more grows. And it shows in the way he presents himself. A person who knows more is humble. He doesn't show off. He is not bashful. He's very humble. I think most of the leaders who trained me, like John Maxwell, I don't know if you've heard of the late Miles Monroe, Dr. Miles Monroe. He's from the Bahamas. I think he went to the Philippines already. He went to the Philippines at the PICC. He was there for 2 days and gave us lectures as well. Those were 2 were my mentors. They were my mentors, and I've got certificates from both of them. In all these universities also that I have studied, this is one thing that I've learned. The most learned people are very simple. I mean, associations with them. They're very silent people, and they don't waste their words. And it shows, their leaderships show by their simplicity, not by the extraordinary intelligence. They were not. Well, I'm now enrolled in Oxford Women Leadership, but I sometimes, because of our exposure, sometimes I get bored with my lecturers, and I would say like, oh, I already know that. I've been lecturing leadership too. But after the session with my professors right now in Oxford, when I sit down and reflect, I always find out that there's this spirit of know-it-all, the spirit of arrogance, and even if those were all repeats, because everybody just repeats, right? With all those, I realized my intuition would tell me that there are still some skills that I need to learn. Head
Ay
knowledge
nako.
wise, I might be good, but head knowledge wise, I might be good, but application wise, I still need something. And that's why God brought me there. The universe, if you may call it, if you're a new age, the universe brings you to a place in order for you to learn something. So yeah, for big leaders like you might find this a repeat, but after this, reflect. You just don't go away. You reflect because there are still some skills that God would like you to learn. Or let's say the universe, if you're in the new age, the universe would like you to learn. So pick something that you need to learn. Number 5, I simply go because of what I know. So number 5, are you someone who just goes with the wind, who just goes with whatever it is that's going on? Or are you the one who would like to institute change in your organization? And how will you do it? Leadership gold is a strategy. It's kind of it's for executives and people. It is more of a strategic leadership kind of course, but this one is more the basic, because we need to know the basic as leaders. Sometimes we forget, because we are so powerful already, we forget that we need the basics in order for us to develop our leadership. Okay. Now, next, the best way to develop, because we are in a process, so practice makes perfect. So the best way to develop leadership is by living the law of leadership. So my question is, what is your plan for growth? Rodel, what is your plan? Because you need to plan. If life is a process, then you need to plan your process for growth. Rodel, what is your plan for leadership?
Well, my plan for leadership, ma'am. Can you hear me? Is
Yeah,
it
your plan
clear?
for your leadership excellence path.
Leadership excellence is, of course, it starts with, of course, with the people around me, because from them I will learn a lot from them, because from these leaders that is above me, I also learn from them, and they also learn from me, besides of what I have right now.
Mm,
So what I could do is, of course, not only enhance myself with all this knowledge that within my environment, but also to grasp more knowledge, like for example having this kind of training and seminar provided by our company, and also by reading books as well. And we have the social media that sometimes all every day you could actually see different quotes that provided you information and also enhance yourself to become a good leader as well. So I learned from that. But of course, the thing that I most learn is from what my leaders is right now. So they are the basis of what I am right now. So I think that's what I'm what that's the process that I'm thinking. And so far, I think it's still working.
no, your plan for growth, your plan for growth.
My plan for growth.
Yes, because it has to be in parallel with your vision for yourself. So if your vision is clear, your life vision is clear, then your plan must also be clear. There has to be a blueprint that you'd written, because life is a process, right? There has to be a blueprint that you should write for your personal growth, for personal professional leadership growth.
Okay, ma'am, I think what exemplifies me on this plan is, my plan is look into who am I, understand myself a lot. I am already undergoing and been with the church also, working with the church also. And as a church worker, I do have some experiences of how leadership is being done in the church, particularly in how to enhance my spirituality, not only through regular Bible reading, but also with the experience from what the leaders of our church as well. So something like that, it is a plan that is, and it actually boosts myself to apply it also in my work. So something like that.
Yes. Okay. So thank you, Rodel, for sharing that. The best plan is something that starts with self, and then knowledge of self and the vision that you have. I would like to recommend the purpose driven life, for every one of us, because my vision for myself, the plan that I have for myself during this stage of process, is due to the three books I've read. First is The Purpose Driven Life, um, by who's that? Yeah, The Purpose Driven Life. It's a very famous book. Unleashing Your Potential, by Dr. Miles Monroe. And the third book is by someone named Lance will know, which, oh, the title I already forgot. But these were the three books that inspired me to write my life. We call it the blueprint of your life. You should have it black and white, and with that in front of you every night, you have to reflect. So you have to reflect on a daily basis. Not only our plan must not only be based on an abstract thought about ourselves, about our future, but it has to be written in black and white. So every day we need to sit down and reflect. How much have we achieved? Because every one of us are called to greatness. This is what you have to remember. You're not just called to serve in one corner of the world. This is one thing that I've learned. No matter who you are, no matter what your background is, poor, rich, beautiful, ugly, public school, private school, whatever it is, you and I are called to be great. Number two that I've learned is that if you have a blueprint of your direction, of the process, then you will realize that sky is not even the limit. Sky is not the limit. You will see that the world will open opportunities for you. This is what I can see. And this, well, based on my experience. Not to boast, I have to give you one example. I was invited by a stranger to be one of the guest speakers of women empowerment in Toronto, Canada. And I was ignorant about the Rogers Center. So I was ignorant about the Rogers Center, but I have this blueprint. If you look at me, I'm no better than you all are. You're great. I see you as great people. I'm no better than you are. You're, in fact, at your age, you're 28, 25, you've even done a lot more than what I did when I was your age. But you see, because my vision was clear, because I knew that I was still on process, I wrote a roadmap of my life. And I said, at this stage of my life, I must be here. And it all just unraveled. When I was invited in Toronto, that was like 15 years ago. And I didn't know what Rogers Center was. And when I was at the immigration of I don't know what airport that was in Toronto, the immigration officer just looked at me and just told me like, "Wow, you're a great Filipino." Well, when I've got two passports, I'm a dual citizen, but I use my Philippine passport every time I travel. Because I'm called to be a Filipino, I have to represent the Philippines. So he just said like, "Oh, you're a great Filipina. You know what visa you have?" I said, "No, I don't know. I just got this." And then he said, "All right, no more questions asked." So when I looked at my visa, it was a visa for, I think it was a visa for a special talent. It's a kind of visa that is given for actors and actresses. I just laughed at myself. And I said, oh, how powerful this writing your blueprint is, because you really bullseye every point you want to take. So I challenge you to write a blueprint of your life. From that Rogers Center, I got many other invitations. I got invited in China, in Uganda. I got, in the USA. Then look at myself. I'm not Miss Universe material. In fact, in South Korea, there was one who attended my seminar or live. I used to travel. And he said, like, I think, that's exactly what he said. I think you are just lucky. You know what I told him? I said, I'm blessed because I know my path. And if you know your path too, you will be the best version of yourself. And you will be an iconic person. You will not know that you will be accomplishing something much greater than what you think you can accomplish. Putting up a school here, putting up a school in Great Britain with a lot of competitions, it's not easy. But to me, it's very easy. Even British people ask me, how did you do that? I said, I know my blueprint. It's your consciousness. So if you have not yet dug into your consciousness level, try to dig into your consciousness level, because your consciousness level will tell you that you're not just meant to be in a little corner of the world. You and I are meant to be the heads and not the tails. Because you're already leaders, you are not just meant to be in that little corner of the world. If you are in one company, your mission in that company is to expand that company exponentially. If you are placed in a certain assignment, you're not just there as a small star. You are there as a shining star, a Venus, no more, no less. And that's what you need to remember. You're not just there for a little thing, for a little department. No. Your vision in this process is to expand your department. So write a blueprint on how to expand your department. If you're the owner, write a blueprint on how to expand your company exponentially. Not just adding people, but exponentially. One day it's going to happen. I know the power, but you go through a process. Your company will go through a process. You as a leader will go through a process. But if your vision is clear, then it's going to happen in one way or another. If you know if you're aware of the principle of serendipity, it's a spiritual happenstance that will propel you to success. That's serendipity. It will happen. It happened to me. It happened to everybody. Do you know, look at all these famous people. Do you think they're better than you? No. They just know the secret of how to become. We don't want to be famous because we want to be famous. We want to be famous because we want to change the world in a better way. So I'm sure, Filipinos are good-hearted people. I don't see any selfishness in my fellow Filipinos. So wherever they are, they would like to change the world. So I challenge you to write a blueprint. Write it. So how do you write the blueprint? Number one, because life is a process, so you cannot just be processed and not know what your direction is. So you are in business. You're in business. You're called to do something. You are in business. So write it. Who you are, what your life vision is. How do you see yourself 5 years from now? How do you see yourself 10 years from now? What is the greatest accomplishment that you would like to see before you even move on to the next life? That's important. That's important. So check yourself. Okay, where am I now in terms of my vision? All right. So because life is, this process is very important, because a lot of people go around circles. They just get promoted, and write down your blueprint. Know yourself. Write down your blueprint. What are the things you need to develop? What are the things you need to know? What are the things you need to do? And in relation to your vision in life, where are you now? And then move forward without black and white, without putting your vision, in ink. It will be very difficult for life. And this process will go on and on and on, and you'll be going around circles. So put it in ink. Because as you read it, there's something that happens in your subconscious mind, and your subconscious minds connect with the spiritual realm. It's always a subconscious mind that connects to the spiritual realm, and the spiritual realm conspires with your subconscious mind, and that's when serendipity happens. Happenstances happens in life. Now, help people develop inside out. This is okay. So now moving on, we have to help people develop inside and out. But it's so hard to impart if we have nothing to impart. So we leaders must have something solid in front of us, inside of us, and in front of us. Number two, be bigger on the inside than the outside. Because if we, because if we're bigger on the inside, we don't role play. We are the same people inside our home, outside our home. We are the same. We don't role play. We don't act out our roles. It comes out to us spontaneously. So number three, the secret of success is discovered in our daily agenda, based on our vision, based on the blueprint. That's why it's important to know who you are and how you are called, what you are called to do here on earth. It's success is more than just leading a team. Success is knowing the end part of your life, and what is it that God would like you to do at the end, or when you look back, when you're in the rocking chair. What is it that you would like to accomplish during your younger days, so that when you're on your twilight age, you tap your shoulder, or if you're Christian, you will see God tapping your shoulder and say, you have accomplished. You have accomplished. Okay. So before we move on to our next session, Carla, what is your takeaway for this session? Carla Gargantilia.
Yes, ma'am. I think through the process of knowing myself,
Yeah, the process. Hello, Carla, we can't hear you. Carla. All right, I'll go back to you. Project manager, I don't know. Project manager, what is your takeaway for the law of process? Hello? A project manager? Okay. NKS Sales SM. Who's his place? Okay. Ramil Cortez. Ramil Cortez?
Yes, it's actually one of the 5 phases of leadership. It's the first one, which I don't know what I don't know. So I need to learn more about because I need to be very precise on what I'm doing to be a leadership, and also I know that I need to know all the feelings of all the feelings of the people around me for being a leader. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Tomorrow you'll share with us some more. Maybe you can share with us what enlightenment did you get as you reflect upon this
Yes.
course.
Yes, especially that you told us, yes, it's good to have a blueprint of actually my life and also my plans on everything.
Yes. So that we will not just go through life like winds. We need to know our blueprint and we must be precise in doing our mission.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
thank you, Ramil. Jonathan Arellano.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, please. You call me Angela.
Sorry.
You can call me Angela.
Okay, okay, Ma'am Angela. So,
No, ma'am.
my take. Oh,
We're friends. I'm just
okay, Angela.
Angela. All right.
So,
Okay.
yeah, my takeaway on this topic is, you need to develop your physical and mental and also spiritual aspect of yourself so that you can be a good leader or good influencer also. So, yeah, that's my takeaway.
Right. What are the specific things that you're going to address spiritually, physically, intellectually?
Actually, I think that uh, three aspect is I need to develop on myself. I know I have I lack in physical and mental and also spiritual aspect of myself because now I am just starting in my managerial uh position because I've just promoted last January, and then so I need to develop myself to further gain knowledge through uh, through what experience I will encounter. So that's why I need to develop those three aspects in myself.
Thank you, Jonathan. And I will pray for you. Yeah, we are together in this journey. We are together
Yeah.
in this journey. We have to empower each other. I'm going to make our WhatsApp group and I will, add all of you there so that we will be able to empower each other during this journey. We are all in a journey. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Riza, what's your takeaway?
Takeaway in this is how the importance of leadership to our life in business. Um,
What
that's
specific? What specific?
uh,
Yeah.
the personal for the personal development of the employee, and then influence and impact.
Right. Before we can develop others, we need to develop ourselves, right? Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you, Riza. Let's hear from Rael Sermonia. Rael Sermonia. Rael. All right. Ramil Cortez. Oh, we're done. Uh, yeah,
Yeah, I'm done already.
yeah,
Yeah.
Cheska, you're raising your hand. You've got a
Yeah.
very beautiful name. One of my very first lecturers in my UK school was named Jessica, and she's a very beautiful lady. She's Filipino American. Most of the people I work with, well, I've got foreigners working with me, but most of those people that I trust are, with Filipino blood.
Okay.
So Jessica.
Yeah. Well, actually, I just have a question.
Mhm.
just so you know, a lot of my team members aren't really used to speaking in straight English. So I was wondering if it's okay that they can speak in Taglish. Are we all Filipinos here?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We can speak Taglish. We can speak in Taglish, and I won't mind. I can understand Ilocano. I can understand Cebuano. I can even understand Tagalog, of course.
Yeah.
I can understand, I don't know, waray-waray. The only language in the Philippines that I don't understand is maybe Kapampangan.
I think Tagalog's fine.
All
No,
right.
because I think some of the members here are a little shy to speak. So
No,
maybe
yeah,
they're just a
I
little
understand.
intimidated by
Yeah.
speaking straight English and stuff like that. So yeah,
Yes, well,
guys.
I miss speaking Tagalog because here in the town where we live, there's only one Filipino family, but they're not they're very busy. So I seldom speak Filipino, and so yeah, thank you. Please speak Tagalog. I feel more at home with Tagalog. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
yes,
Guys, yes, feel free. Magsalita naman kayo dyan.
yeah, mag-Tagalog tayo. Sige. But when I lecture, it is, I don't know. When I lecture, it is in my mindset to speak in English. But I understand Filipino, and you please speak Filipino, and I understand Filipino. All right.
Angela,
Thank
thank you.
you. Yeah, Cheska, thank you. All right. So NKS, what's this? NKS, please speak up.
Yeah,
Yes.
my takeaway from the law process or the leadership is it builds on a daily basis. It's not in a day. Well, it teaches us small or incremental improvements made over time up to a significant progress, I think.
Salamat po. You know, we cannot make any significant progress if we don't write our blueprint, if we don't write our vision, our plans. So I think what I should stress in this chapter is you must have a written plan for your life. Number one. Number two, you must have the faith because everything is hinged in faith. Nakakabit sa faith, everything. So you must have the faith that you are meant to do great things. If you're a new manager, you're not placed there just to manage a small group. You're placed there to expand that team. So always have this in your mind. You are placed to expand anything in life that you have in your hands. Expand your finances, expand your influence, expand. And all these go through a process. So how do you track down your improvement? Because it's a process. So you just don't tell yourself, oh, it's a process. Okay. No, you must be aware that you are being processed for something bigger, higher, and grand. Number three, always remember that in every one of us is not just a dying star. Everyone in you and I is a Venus, a shining bright star. So in this law of process, what I'd like you to bring tonight in your life, and I would like you to have the faith that you are called for greatness. You are called for expansion. And you are called not just for yourself, but for humanity. Okay, Gina Aliman, do you believe that you are called to greatness and you are being processed to be the best person, not only to lead a small group, but to lead a huge team? Gina.
Hello. I would believe so. Sooner or later, after after having everything that I
Gina, we cannot hear you.
Hello, ma'am. Is my line clear?
Yeah.
I believe so that sooner or later in the near years, I would be someone who is a good leader. Is my line clear or it's a bit choppy? Ma'am Angela, am I clear? My line clear or no?
It's clear now,
Yes.
Gina. You call me
Okay.
Angela.
Ma'am, okay. Ma'am Angela.
Wag na,
Okay.
ma'am. Wag na, ma'am. All right.
Oh yeah. You care. Angela, I would believe that someday, somewhere, I would be a good leader and I am a good leader to manage my own business. So that is my target in the life. For now, I am still in the process of right skills, management skills, entrepreneurial skills to build my to continuously adapt to the things that I want to achieve in the so for now, achieving the right.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Salamat. Okay. So our next, thank you for sharing, but I would like you to remember that in this process of life, we are being processed to become number one, better person of our better version of ourselves, because we are processed to be great Venuses, great shining stars, which will illuminate the entire humanity. Number three, we are called big time. And in this process of life, you are not just called to lead a small team. You are called to lead big, great teams. You are called to lead, to add value to humanity, to yourself first, and then to humanity. In other words, think big, because it is in the greatness of your dreams that you become better persons and eventually better leaders. Okay, now, so how do we go? You see, it's life is a process, right? So how do we get to our vision? That's why I was telling you, write your vision, believe in your vision, because we cannot navigate our lives without having a vision. How can you navigate a ship without knowing your destination? You drive, I'm sure you drive. You drive your cars, right? So every time you drive your cars, you know where you're going. You just don't drive your cars and roam around circles in the streets. No. When you start driving your car, you know where you're going. When pilots start um, taking off, well, even before they take off, they already know what their destination is. That's why it is very important to know your life's vision. That is the foundational requirement for processing. What's this processing all about? If you don't know your vision in life, you don't know your purpose in life, you don't know how to connect to your calling in life, so these are all useless. So first, know your passion, then know your vision, because your passion is connected to your vision in life. Now, if you know your vision in life, write the blueprint of your life in connection to your assignment right now, like managers, supervisors, and so on, because it is where you will start navigating your life. Now, so if you have all this, then you can start navigating your life. Okay, so how do you navigate your life? Now, let us not separate leadership and life, because life is leadership and leadership is life. Everybody is a leader, even young kids, the newborn babies, they're influencing our lives. So everybody's an influencer. Um, the young babies, who among you are married? So if you're married, then you know that your sons and daughters change the course of your life. That is their influence into our lives. So everybody has an influence. So We cannot start navigating our lives or navigating our teams by if we do not know how to navigate our lives. So the best way to navigate is to know how to read the destiny of our lives. It sounds philosophical, but it is. We cannot navigate our team if we don't know our direction. So if you're a management professional in your office, you should know the vision of your company. Know the vision. And then live the vision of your company. Live the culture of your company. Because without knowing the mission and vision of the culture of your company, you will beat around the bush and you will not know what process are you being processed. So the first thing, if not only about management, but the first thing when a person is employed in a company, the person must know the mission and vision of the company, and he or she must live the mission and vision of that company. That is the very first. Now, in a greater scheme, we are not just employed by a company. We are employed by a divine. And that divine has a plan for each one of us. And that plan that God has each one of us is embedded into our talents, our abilities, and our skills, and of course, passion. Now, it is through these skills, abilities, passion, and the opportunity given to us that will make us aware of our calling. So you being in that position is not by coincidence. God placed you there. God placed you there, not for ordinary reasons, but God placed you there to add value to the organization. You add value to the organization by giving what you have. That's why personal growth is very important. Now, you cannot navigate without you knowing the direction of the company. Now, these are very crucial things you need to ask yourselves because you're there. Vis-a-vis the vision of the company, you have to ask yourself, honestly, is the vision of the company in line with my vision in life? If it's not, then it's not for you. Look for another company that can be in alignment with your vision in life. Working for money is good, but working for money alone is detrimental for a person to navigate well. So how do we learn the law of navigation? It says here, the law of navigation, it says, well, anyone can steer the ship, but it takes a leader to chart the course. Now, yeah, of course, you don't own the company. Well, for Cheska, because she owns the company, she knows how to navigate. She knows how to navigate. That everyone should go to the owner of the company and ask. And then if you're given the keys, you're given the keys to your roles, be creative. Get outside the box. But then, you are employed by a company, so you can be creative in a way that is approved by the owner of the company, because we don't own the company. We need to be in accordance with the vision of the company. Now, if there's something in the company that you don't like, you can always bring it up. And if it conflicts with the vision of the company, conflicts with your personal vision, then it's not for you. Because vision is very important. Now, when you go through the navigation requires preparation, of course. So a leader is one who sees more than others see, who sees farther than others see, and who sees before others do see. Okay, navigation requires a vision for the future. You see, a leader cannot become an iconic leader without seeing the future. You must have a great vision. That's why leaders are visionaries. Leaders are visionaries. Number 3, navigation requires reflection of the past, because as leaders, we must have a hindsight. That's why track record is important. So there are many hindsights that you need to learn as new leaders or even seasoned leaders. First, the track record of the company that you work for. Where did they go wrong? Where did they succeed? Okay. The track record of your team and your own track record. And put them all together and create a symphony. And from there, you start navigating yourself first and your team. That's why a leader who does not reflect is a total failure. A leader who does not reflect is a total failure. All leaders across the board. You read about the life of Napoleon Bonaparte, you read about the life of all those great leaders, of Reagan, of all those great people. They allot 30 minutes of reflection before they start their daily grind. They reflect. Reflection is the substance. It's the juice of leadership. It's the liquid that is a liquid that makes leadership grow and more fluid. So if you're a leader without reflections, if you're an empty leader, how can you lead? So how can you navigate? So first, know your destination. What is your destination? There is a physical destination. Okay, I lecture sometimes based on this outline, but sometimes I lecture based on my experience. So it might not be here, but it makes sense, okay? So first, before you even navigate, you have to, again, know your vision in life, know your purpose in life, know the vision of the company in relation to your vision. And if they intertwine, then go on with the company. Because it is important. You just don't go with emotion for the money, for the promotion, because it's shallow. A shallow life does not produce a deep and fulfilling life. In the greater scheme of things, we are here for a purpose and a reason. And the sense of fulfillment is the utmost consideration in a person's life. So as we navigate our life better, we can navigate our family, our personal, professional life much better. So how do we live the law of navigation? You see, we cannot navigate without knowing our destination. That's why in the academe, they have what you call the daily, that when they do their lesson planning, they have their daily plan, and then they have a terminal plan. The terminal plan is, what is the end game of this one? So what is your end game? What is your awareness about your end game? So leading influence requires continual preparation. Now you have to follow the acronym plan ahead. Number P, predetermine a course of action. L, lay out your goals. You have to lay out your goals. You see, if you don't lay out, when you say lay out, write it. Because you cannot do anything without writing. Write it. You might think I'm old-fashioned because I'm a little bit older than you are, but I don't want to get rid of my writing. I write my goals on a daily basis. Please do it. You belong to the younger generation, but writing, it's scientific. It is effective because it's scientific. When you write using a pen and a paper, there is a connection between your pulses and your brain. So when that's why if you want to change, one of those exercises that you can do is you write your affirmations maybe 29 times in a day. So for example, um, if you want to change some of the areas of your life, you lack self-love. So you have to write your daily affirmations 10 times. Write, not type. Write. Okay, write it. Write your affirmations like, I love myself. I'm a loving person. I'm a loving person. I'm a loving person. If you lack self-love, I am loved. I am loved. I am loved. I am loved. I am loved 10 times. Write. So you have to write because you have to lay out your goals. I'm a great, one of my affirmations is, I'm a great public speaker. People love me. I'm embraced everywhere I go. I'm the heads and not the tails. I lead. I lead. I'm a great leader. I'm a respected author. People love me. I love people. I love people. And all these affirmations through the years, I write them 20 times a day. It's hard work, isn't it? But it pays. So you have to lay out your goals. Next, adjust your priorities according to your goal. That's why you need to have a blueprint, right? Architects, they do have a blueprint. What I mean blueprint is that you should have a written structure of your life. Attached there is your family life, your personal life, your career life, and everything. And notify your key personnel. Notify your key personnel. So in the office, your key personnel are your bosses, right? In your house, who's your key personnel? If your wife, your key personnel is your husband. If you're a wife, your key person. If your wife, your key personnel is your husband. If your husband, your key personnel is your wife. Let us, okay? Because life is concentric. It is not boxed. So if you're a good husband, you can become, you automatically become a good leader at inside out. Because how sad life would be if you're a different person, if we're acting out. So we need to be the same people in the house and the same people outside of our house. And that is going to be a free-flowing life, a happy life. So, and notify your key personnel. If you plan ahead, you have plans, this is my blueprint, ma'am, write your blueprint, ma'am, this is my blueprint. This is what I wish to do. This is what I want to become in your company. Articulate your vision. And then allow time for acceptance. Oh, this is it. Well, we can talk about this more of this in the leadership goal. It's a different course for strategies, for leadership strategies. So allow time for acceptance, which means allow your boss or allow your subordinates time for buy-in. Because if we have ideas, we have new vision, then we have to present them first to our boss. And then if our boss, sometimes our boss will say, well, think about it, give me time. Then give them time to think about it. And then when they give you an approval, you have also you have to present it to your team. You have to give enough time for your team to accept this, the law of buy-in, which I said we will be able to talk about in the leadership goal. So allow time for buy-in, because we just don't present and ram our ideas on the throat of our subordinates or our team. So we have to present our idea to them and allow them to think about it. And then H is head into action. So after the buy-in, hit the iron while it's hot. That's what you call the principle of the big mo, the principle of momentum. So once you've presented your ideas and people buy it, boom, do it right away, because you have to take advantage of the people's momentum. Because once the momentum dies down, then you have to go all over and over and over again. So we lose our time. Next, E is, we have to expect problems, but let's not be paranoid. I don't call problems as problems anymore. I just call them situations, challenging situations that I know I can solve. I don't expect problems. No, I just expect situations, maybe challenging situations, which I can solve. That's just how I see life. There should be an answer to this. There should be an answer to this. Why I don't give up. I'm not the person who gives up. I'm sure you are. Don't give up. So if you are faced, you expect not problems. Expect situations that you can solve. A, always point to successes. You see, always point successes. Don't point to failures. Point to successes. And D, review your plan on a daily basis. Again, plans need to be written. It's not easy to be a leader, but it is very fulfilling. So navigation requires careful reflection of the past. And of course, let's not forget intuition. Intuition. After you've studied all the physical manifestations of what's going on, you have to reflect and you have to ask your gut, what is the right way? Because for leaders, the best decisions are made by people who are very reflective, who are knowledgeable and intuitive. Because intuitive is 90% actually. Because we never know the future. We never know the future. Sometimes you make a decision that all of a sudden something happens. But if you are intuitive, you know what to do. So wise people are 90% intuitive, 10% knowledgeable. Okay, so leading others to the law of navigation, to navigate for
Hello,
others.
sorry, Angela.
Yeah.
Have you discussed the letter D in the plan ahead?
Daily review.
Daily?
Yeah,
Okay.
daily review your plan. Thank you. All right, daily review your plan. That's why, if you review, how can you review your plan if you don't write them? So write them. Write them. Okay, letter B, navigation requires careful reflection of the past, like what I've said. But you cannot reflect on something that you cannot reflect on something that you had not written. So you have to write everything so that you can reflect. Keyword for this chapter is reflection. Knowing your vision. And well, everything is because it's important. Again, knowing your direction. Because you cannot navigate anything. You cannot even navigate yourself without you knowing who you are. So navigate yourself. Know who you are. Know what your calling is, because your calling will depend on your vision. And then write your vision in accordance to your personal life, your personal life, your career life. Career life is very important because you're not just there for earning money. Your career is your calling. Your career is your calling. And your calling and where you are right now might be temporary, might be something that will last you for a lifetime. But for sure, where you are right now is where you are right now because you need to give and receive at the same time. Number two, you have to navigate yourself and your workplace and your family and your spiritual life all together because you are called for multiplication, not for addition. We are not called to fail. No one is called to fail. People who fail are the ignorant people. Sorry to say. You're called to succeed. You're called to succeed. You're not called to fail. And you have to put it in your mind. No one is called to fail. People who fail are those who fail to learn. We are called to learn. If we fail to learn, then we are walking into the road of perdition. Now, always remember that navigation is a skill of a wise person. All right. So before we continue for tomorrow, let us get some feedback about our seminar for today. Thank you so much.